The first knock came at 5:47 a.m., 3 sharp raps that rattled the tin door of the shack like gunfire. Lila froze, her fingers still curled around the chipped mug she'd been rinsing. She hadn't even started the coffee yet. Through the single pane of cracked glass, she saw 2 men in charcoal suits, briefcases gleaming like weapons. One held a thick envelope. The other held a look that said her life was about to change forever. Every morning for the past 2 years, Lila had risen before the sun to walk the 3 miles from the slums to the gated hill where Mr. Elias Grant's mansion stood like a marble palace. She was 16 when she started, barefoot half the time, carrying a plastic jug of water and a rag. The guards knew her by sight now, they waved her through without a word. She cleaned the windshield of his black SUV while he read the newspaper inside, never looking up. She left a single wildflower on the dashboard, whatever she could pick from the roadside ditch. He never thanked her. She never expected it. It was just her quiet way of saying the world still had kindness in it, even if no one noticed. Her mother had died the winter before, lungs drowned in factory dust. The medical bills still sat in a shoebox under Lila's cot, a tower of unpaid notices. She worked odd jobs, washing dishes, sweeping storefronts, but the money disappeared before it touched her palm. The flower and the wiped windshield were the only things she could give without cost. She told herself it was enough. Mr. Grant noticed, of course. He noticed everything. From the tinted window he watched the girl with the torn uniform and the careful hands. He saw the way she bowed her head when the rain soaked her through, the way she smiled at the stray dog that followed her sometimes. He was 72, widowed, childless, and richer than most small countries. His days were meetings and numbers and the hollow echo of rooms too big for one man. The girl's ritual became the only soft spot in his schedule. He began leaving the car unlocked. Once, he left a $100 bill under the wiper. She left it there. The next day it was gone, replaced by 2 wildflowers. Then came the morning the car didn't appear. And the next. And the next. Lila waited until the sun burned the dew off the gates, then turned back, worry knotting her stomach. She heard rumors in the market, heart attack, hospital, coma. She didn't know what to do with the worry. It felt too big for her narrow shoulders. The lawyers found her on the 7th day without the SUV. The envelope was heavy. Inside was a letter on thick cream paper, Mr. Grant's shaking signature at the bottom. He had died 2 nights earlier. The will was simple, everything, mansion, companies, offshore accounts, went to charities. Everything except one line. To Lila Santos, for services rendered with grace, I leave the sum of $5 million and the cottage on the eastern acre. May she never again walk barefoot. She read it 3 times before the words made sense. The lawyers waited, impatient. One tapped his watch. "We'll need you to sign some papers," he said. "And vacate the premises by noon tomorrow. The shack is on land being rezoned." Lila's legs gave out. She sat on the dirt floor among the ants and the leaking roof and the shoebox of bills. $5 million. A cottage. Words that belonged to other people's stories. She thought of her mother's cough, the way it rattled like gravel in a tin can. She thought of the wildflowers wilting on dashboards no one would see. She cried until there was nothing left but hiccups. The cottage was small, stone walls and a red door, hidden behind a grove of mango trees. It had a kitchen with a real stove and a bedroom with a window that faced the sunrise. Lila moved in with 1 plastic bag of clothes and the shoebox. She paid the medical bills first. Then she bought shoes, simple black ones that didn't pinch. She stood in the cottage's quiet and felt the silence press against her skin like water. For the first time in her life, no one needed anything from her. But the emptiness followed. She missed the walk. She missed the guard's nods. She missed the weight of the jug in her hand, the purpose of it. One morning she found herself at the gates again, barefoot out of habit. The new owner, a tech billionaire with a private helicopter, had installed cameras. A security drone buzzed overhead. She turned away. Weeks blurred. She tried to spend the money wisely, a scholarship fund for girls in the slums, a clinic with clean sheets and a doctor who smiled. She hired the stray dog's vet bill. She bought her old neighbor's groceries. But every night she sat on the cottage porch and counted stars, wondering why generosity felt like drowning. Then came the second knock. This time it was a girl, maybe 12, with braids and a torn backpack. She stood at the cottage gate holding a single daisy. "My mama says you fix things," she said. "My brother's sick. The clinic turned us away. They said come back tomorrow." Lila looked at the daisy and felt something crack open in her chest. She took the girl's hand. They walked to the clinic together. Lila paid the bill, then stayed to hold the brother's hand while the four dripped. The mother cried into Lila's shoulder, smelling of soap and exhaustion. When they left, the girl pressed the daisy into Lila's palm. "For your dashboard," she whispered. The next day, another child came. Then a grandmother with arthritis. Then a boy who needed glasses. Word spread through the slums like wildfire. The girl in the cottage by the mango trees could help. Lila stopped counting the money. She started counting smiles instead. She turned the cottage into a halfway house. The living room became a classroom where teenagers learned to read financial reports. The kitchen fed whoever knocked. She hired the guards who used to wave her through. They taught self-defense on the lawn. The stray dog, now named Dashboard, slept on a cushion by the door. 1 year later, on the anniversary of Mr. Grant's death, Lila stood at his grave. She left not a wildflower but a single daisy, pressed between glass. The headstone was simple, Elias Grant, he noticed. She traced the letters and whispered, "I finally understand." That night she uploaded a video from the cottage porch. No script, just the truth. She told the story of the windshield and the wildflowers, the lawyers and the cottage, the emptiness and the knocking children. She showed the classroom, the kitchen, the dog snoring under the table. At the end she looked straight into the camera, eyes shining with the kind of tired that comes from good work. "If you're watching this," she said, "and you've ever felt like your kindness doesn't matter, know this, someone is noticing. Someone is changed. And one day, the world will knock on your door with an envelope you never expected. Keep going. Keep giving. The story isn't over." She smiled, small and real. Like if this touched you. Subscribe if you want to see what happens when a poor girl decides the money was never the point. The point was the morning walk. The point was the flower. The point is you. The video ended on the sound of children laughing in the background, the clatter of spoons against bowls, the soft thud of Dashboard's tail against the floor. Outside, the mango trees rustled in the wind, and somewhere in the slums, a girl picked a daisy from a ditch, already walking toward a gate that would open for her one day. Because kindness, it turns out, is the only inheritance that grows when you give it away.